It is the sound of absolute supremacy, a thunderous roar that shakes the water, sending the 700 shell more than 20 meters. This is the voice of the Iowa-class battleship, the finmost advanced evolution of Dreadnought era. In the history of naval warfare, no class of ship served for so long across so many conflicts, maintaining its reign as the most powerful surface combatant in every fleet it joined. For ships, Iowa, New Jersey, Missouri, Wisconsin, their story spans 50 years from the Pacific against the Empire of Japan to sands of Iraq, and in all that time, through from major wars, they shared one legendary, unimpeachable record. The Iowa-class battleship was never defeated. The Iowa class was born not out of traditional battleship thinking, but out of necessity. The year was 1938, and the naval arms treaties were collapsing. The U.S. Navy needed a new capital ship, not to slug it out with slow, heavily armored behemoths, but to keep pace with new fast Essex-class aircraft carriers. The design mandate was a radical fusion, the colossal firepower of 9.16 guns protected by a formidable armor, while balanced on a hull capable of over 33 knots. This engineering demanded a compromise. The Iowa class had to be long and slender, constrained by the single crucial requirement of being able to transit the Panama Canal. This focus and speed created the fast battleship concept. They were not built just for the traditional battle line, but as the 45,000-ton, heavily armored anti-aircraft escorts for the Navy's new offensive weapon, the Carrier Task Force. When the Iowa and her sisters arrived in the Pacific in 1944, the face of naval warfare had already changed. The carrier was king, but the battleships still had a role only they could fill: protection and occasional live kill shot. Their first and most famous surface action came during Operation Hailstone at Truck Lagoon. In February 1944, USS Iowa and USS New Jersey were detached to hunt down a fleet in Japan and Sekimoy. Here, the long-range 16 and Mark 7 guns proved their dominance. Iowa engaged and sank the Japanese light cruiser Kuturi. This was one of the few instances in the Pacific where an American battleship sank an enemy surface ship, but their primary function was bombardment and air defense. The Iowa's massive secondary battery, 20 dual-purpose 5 guns, accounted for nearly half of all Japanese aircraft shot down by the fast carrier task force between late 1944 and early 1945. They were a shield. When the US Missouri BB-63 took a punishing kamikaze in 1945, the damage was minor, a dent in a small fire, a testament to the battleship's armor. On September 2, 1945, the war ended on the deck of the Missouri, forever cementing its role as stage for history. The jet age dawned and the battleships were quickly decommissioned. But in war, nothing delivers high-caliber destruction like a battleship. The Korean War brought them back. From 1951, the ships provided relentless naval gunfire support, NGFS, targeting North Korean bunkers and supply lines with unmatched accuracy and sustained volume. The USS New Jersey 6-2 was the only Iowa class to be briefly reactivated for the Vietnam War in 1968. For 6 months, her 16-inch guns were an absolute terror to Viet Cong forces, able to deliver destructive fire on targets 24 miles inland. This power was unique, cost-effective, and impossible to ignore. The most surprising chapter of the service came in the 1980s. President Ronald Reagan's 600 ship Navy initiative demanded an immediate visible counter to the massive Soviet Kiryov-class battlecruisers. The Navy had 4 hulls for floating fortresses in reserve. The EAs were recommissioned and given a transformative refit. Their outdated light anti-aircraft guns were stripped and replaced with modern technology. 30 WGM 109 Tomahawk cruiser missiles for long-range land attack and 16 are GM-80 for Harpoon anti-ship missiles. The ships were now a perfect hybrid, blending the brutal power of the 16-inch with the precision of the missilage. They were once again relevant capital ships. The final act of their combat legacy occurred in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. USS Missouri and its Wisconsin were deployed to the Persian Gulf. The war began with the new weapons. Wisconsin served as the Tomahawk launch commander, directing the opening salvo of missiles into Iraq. But the real value was the old gun. The battleships provided the crucial overwhelming shore bombardment needed to threaten an amphibious invasion, pinning Iraq forces along the coast. In an age of laser-guided bombs, the 2,700-pound 16-inch shell remained the most